Hey everyone! In this video, we're going to fix some of the layering issues we've been dealing with. Right now, when our player walks around the map, objects like trees or rocks don't always behave realistically. Sometimes he walks on top of them or disappears behind them in weird ways. So let's fix that and make our world feel more believable. Let's take a look at our current setup. We have 3 tile map layers: ground, hills, and decoration. The ground is set to order in layer equals -1. The player is set to order in layer equals 4. The decoration layer is at order equals 0. That setup is a good start, but we need more control. So in this video, we're going to create 4 new tile map layers, each with a specific purpose: collision behind player. This layer collides with the player, but is rendered behind him. Great for things like short walls or fences the player can walk in front of. Set order in layer equal to 2 collision above player. This one also collides with the player but is rendered in front of him. Perfect for things like cliffs, big tree trunks, or upper bridges. Set order in layer equal to 5 non-collision high. No collision, the player can walk through it, but it's rendered above the player. Ideal for treetops, canopies, or vines. Set order in layer equals 6 or higher. Non-collision low. Also no collision, but it's rendered behind the player. Useful for roads, dirt paths. Grass details. Set order in layer equal to -2 or -3. With this structure, our player can now walk. Behind trees, but only the top part hides him. Around rocks that block movement. On top of roads that don't interfere with collision. This makes everything feel much more natural, like classic Zelda-style movement. All right, now let's refine our tile map setup to fix a classic issue. Our hill or elevated objects are appearing completely above the player, even the parts that should be behind him. What we want is to split those hill tiles, so the bottom part is rendered behind the player, and the top part is rendered in front, while still keeping the collision accurate. So here's what we're going to do. First, head back to the sprite editor. We need to ensure that each block of the hill is sliced individually so we can separate the top and bottom tiles. If your hill tiles were sliced as one big tile, that won't work. Change the slice type to grid by cell size and re-slice it so every block is isolated. Now, in the hierarchy, rename your current hill tile map to collision high. Then right-click on the grid and create a new tile map, rectangular, and name it collision low. In the inspector, set collision high to order in layer equals 5 and set collision low to order in layer equals 0. Now here's the trick. Select the eraser tool. Go to the collision high layer. Erase the bottom parts of the hill tiles, then switch to the collision low layer and place those same bottom tiles back in. Just the base parts. When we hit play, you'll now see that the bottom of the hill is rendered behind the player. The top of the hill is rendered in front of him. This gives your environment a much more realistic sense of depth without breaking any collisions. Now let's apply the same technique we used for the hills to our trees. The goal here is to split the tree tiles into top and bottom parts, so that the player can walk in front of the trunk but appear behind the top leaves. First, make sure your tree sprite is properly sliced in the sprite editor. Then go back to the hierarchy, and just like before. Now let's delete all the tree from the decoration layer and let's add a trunk on top of the collision low layer. Alright, before we move forward, there's a small change we need to make. Let's go back and rename our decoration layer to non-collision high, since it contains things like treetops or other objects the player should walk behind. Now let's actually place some top parts of trees, the leafy canopies. These go on the non-collision high layer. Set their order in layer to 10 to make sure they render well above the player. This gives us that classic RPG effect where the player can walk under trees, but only the leaves cover him, not the trunk. Next, let's create a new tile map just for the tree trunks. Right-click on the grid. Go to 2D Object, Tilemap Rectangular. Name it Tree Trunk, set its order in layer to 0. Now let's paint some tree trunks into the scene using sliced tiles. To make sure the player can't walk through them, go to the inspector and add a Tilemap Collider 2D. Then we need to adjust the collider offset slightly so it matches only the upper body of the player, giving the illusion that their legs are behind the tree, but their head is in front. You can tweak this by editing the collider's Y offset or shape in the Tilemap Collider component or by using a custom physics shape in the sprite editor. Now hit play and you'll see the player is correctly affected by the tree trunk collider while still appearing under the top part of the tree. This kind of layering makes your world feel more dynamic and adds that nice classic RPG polish. Let's go ahead and finish setting up our system by splitting it properly across the correct layers. Start by selecting the collision high tile map. Use the eraser tool, delete the top part of the trees, then switch over to the non-collision high layer and paint them back in the same position. Now when we hit play, this creates a beautiful depth effect and really brings the map to life. Next, let's add a layer for roads, paths, or extra map decorations that are purely visual. Right-click on the grid, create a new tile map, rectangular, name it non-collision. Low set its order in layer to 0 so it renders behind the player. Here you can add things like dirt roads, shadows, cracks, puddles, and other small map details. Since this layer is just for visuals, we don't need to add any colliders. The player can walk right over them freely. And that's it for this episode. We now have a fully layered and realistic map where the player can walk behind trees, around obstacles, and interact with the world in a much more immersive way. If you found this helpful, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next episode, where we'll bring our world to life with animations and interactions. Thanks for watching and keep building your dream RPG, one tile at a time.